Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications. And once you're done, leave a comment down below and I just might end up responding. Where would professional wrestling be without the usage of steroids? Probably a lot healthier, but also probably at least a little bit smaller in both terms of the wrestlers and the popularity of wrestling as a whole today. Credit where credit is unfortunately due, they really did enhance pro wrestling in a way, like, yeah, side effects and shit, but probably not the healthiest. But you can honestly say the WWE wouldn't be where it is today without Hogan's Pythons. I'm D Wicket, and these are 10 former steroid users and what they're up to today. Number 10, Lex Luger. The greatest Hulk Hogan ripoff of all time, Mr. Lex Luger drew countless inspirations from our red and yellow Patriot. Aside from the bleach blonde hair and the over-allegiance to the States, Luger also took interest in the usage and abusage of steroids to keep on the good side of good old Vinnie McMahon. While many wrestlers tried covering up the darker side of their history, Lex has been incredibly open with the role steroids played in his career and has actively taken steps towards cleaning up. Today, Lex Luger is a healthier, Christian-er man with behind-the-scenes role with the WWE. That's about as good as it can get, and unfortunately, not everyone is going to share the same fate that Lex Luger had.
Well, of all people, referring to Luger as a muscle-bound goof. Well, it goes back to your childhood days.
For example, number 9, Curt Hennig. Just as easily as one person can turn their entire life around, another could have it all taken away from them in just an instant. While there was never any question as to the athletic ability of Mr. Perfect, his habits off the screen always sparked a little bit of controversy, especially as the years went on. If Lex Luger is the prime example of how you can take a bad situation and fix it up, Hennig should be the constant reminder that getting yourself into substance abuse can and likely will end up deadly, as at the young age of 44, he was found dead on what his own father called, and I quote, a lethal combination of steroids and painkillers.
Celebrities here in this one, they know how much is at stake. They're not laying back. Hitman wide open on the apron, right into the...
Number 8, Gregory Helms. Well, how about this? What happens when you've got a wrestler who claims to have suffered from an injury or something of the sort, is prescribed some form of medication, and then ends up being punished because apparently the substance was illegal and there was a miscommunication between the company and the wrestler?
Soon as the music hit, the signal flared, and it said, "Stand back." The universe knew that the hurricane was coming.
Well, that sure does sound like a metaphorical hurricane of chaos, but yeah, no, seriously, of all the hulking giants this company has had to offer, would you ever in your life have guessed the fucking Hurricane to be on this list? Even better, would you have expected him to make his grand return to the ring at the greatest Royal Rumble?
Right now.
As am I. Always remember, through howling winds and pouring rain, all evil shall fear the hurricane.
Number 7, Randy Orton. We mentioned it a bit recently on another list, but it really is insane just how much controversy the Viper has managed in his entire career. On a list that so notably includes anger management issues and shitting in some poor random diva's handbag, steroids still manages to rank fairly high up there in terms of things that he's done bad. While many wrestlers look shockingly similar throughout their career, watching Randy over the last decade and a half makes it pretty easy to tell that roids helped him in his younger teen years.
Jeff Hardy drags him out here on the rope. Orton's got a hold of Hardy.
Randy letting all of them.
Blood rush to the face.
Where's he at now? Literally still on SmackDown Live. Still.
Jeff Hardy drags him out here on the rope. Orton's got a hold of Hardy.
Randy letting all of them.
Blood rush to the face.
Number 6, Dynamite Kid. It had to come up eventually. Perhaps one of the most infamous downfalls in professional wrestling history, the Dynamite Kid went from one of the greatest in the ring to one of the worst outside of it. Without going into too much detail on his personal life, the Kid ended up losing both of his legs and being wheelchair bound not long after retiring from pro wrestling. Going many years without the ability to walk, Dynamite Kid passed away very, very recently, in fact just a few days ago as of writing and recording this. While much of the damage to his body can be attributed to his in-ring style, the effects of steroids in his life were always notable, even according to him while he was still alive.
A smash to the chest. A beautiful...
Number 5, Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan just might be the second most iconic steroid user of all time, and honestly, that is pretty damn impressive. I think it's pretty safe to assume that Lance Armstrong can probably take the number 1 spot, and you know, there's probably a few other sports boys mixed in there, but Hogan is right up there near the top of the list.
Guess what, maniacs? The show starts right now. So what you gonna do when the power of Hulkamania in the crowd.
No matter what he tries telling you about how legit his workout methods were, yeah, those pythons were not all natural, Hogan. It clearly didn't matter too much, seeing as after steroids and a racist controversy, he still showed up at WWE Crown Jewel this year. Thank you, Hogan. Nice to see you again, buddy.
Guess what, maniacs? The show starts right now. So what you gonna do when the power of Hulkamania?
Number 4, Chris Benoit. For every uplifting or funny story like a Helms or a Hogan, a cruel reminder of the reality of steroids must always be present right there at the list. Of course, just like all the other entries on this list, roids aren't always going to be the only drug being used by the wrestler, but they play their role, especially when you mix it with something such as painkillers. That's a very deadly combination. It's the one that took Mr. Perfect's life, and it's the same combination that helped take Benoit's. We all know how the Benoit situation ended, but it will always be important to remember that his brain resembled that of an 80-year-old Alzheimer's patient by the time of his death. That is what that shit can do to you.
How they could control you so much in the way that they did him, but I understood why. Yeah, we're in pain. He's back and healthy.
Number 3, Edge. Back in the good old Attitude Era days of Edge and Christian tag teaming up, I think the answer to whether or not Edge was roided up was pretty fucking easy to answer. The dude was almost as slim as Christian was. I mean, Jesus, there's no way he'd be on that shit. But let 5 years pass and goddamn, something here is different, folks. Along with somehow getting even taller than he was before, the now rated R superstar has found himself looking jacked as shit, which Edge himself actually admitted was due to steroids back in 2005. That's kind of ballsy to have said that in 2005, since that's when his big push with the WWE title was still taking place. But then again, he was rated R, I guess.
The rated R superstar Edge.
Lucky guy got out of the hole without too many issues and still works with the WWE all the time, especially with Christian, usually something involving the word awesome.
The rated R superstar Edge.
Number 2, The Ultimate Warrior. While it still remains unknown whether or not he really was kicking his steroid addiction or not, one thing that's for sure with the Warrior, it played a huge role in his life. While it definitely did help him climb the ladder, it also made doing business with the man nearly impossible over the years, as he was just about as infamously shit backstage as Shawn Michaels was during his peak. Despite this, things at least seemed to look up towards the very end of Warrior's life, having delivered an insanely impactful and heartwarming speech for his Hall of Fame acceptance almost immediately before passing away, like the next day.
Got the big splash. 1, 2. He got him. He got him. Unbelievable.
And number 1, Kurt Angle. A lot of wrestlers have struggled with addiction and made it to greener grass, but almost no story feels just as triumphant as Kurt Angle's. Having risen up the ranks with a literal Olympic gold medal around his neck, symbolizing purity and athletic greatness, suddenly being labeled as a steroid-using cheater must have really stung for the wrestling machine to hear, especially during the mid-2000s when something like that would be getting to him at his lowest point, when Angle was suffering very badly from both steroid and a painkiller addiction, which, as we've seen elsewhere in this list, is usually when the worst things happen.
Make a mistake. Ladies and gentlemen, your new general manager of Raw, Kurt Angle!
After managing to clean himself up, however, Angle managed a WWE Hall of Fame return, an in-ring comeback with the Shield, and a fairly entertaining spot as the general manager of Monday Night Raw, and I think we can all be thankful for Kurt Angle. Am I right, or am I right?
Make a mistake. Ladies and gentlemen, your new general manager of Raw, Kurt Angle!
And those are 10 former steroid users and where they're at now. What are your thoughts? Do you think steroids should be allowed? Are the downsides most likely probably way too negative to outweigh the good? I would probably go with that one. Let us know in the comments down below after liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and notifications and that bell.